And welcome to the Lake Area High School Basketball Coaches Show. You can see this show every weekday at 9, 4, and 10. Today, we will get caught up on what's going on with the Camdenton Lakers program with head coach Craig Campbell. The Lake Area High School Basketball Coaches Show is brought to you by COMC, Central Ozarks Medical Center, the O'Sullivan Bruce Group, part of RE/MAX Lake of the Ozarks, and Slumberland Furniture, Slumberland at the Lake. The Lake Area High School Basketball Coaches Show right after this. So Coach Craig Campbell of the Camdenton Lakers with us this week. Thank you, sir, for making the trip to the studios and joining us.
Appreciate you having me.
So it's been a rough year so far. Wins have been hard to come by. Was this kind of what you were expecting, kind of a rebuilding year?
Not fully. There's some games I feel like we should have won that we lost earlier in the year and even some later now. But it was one of those that experience-wise, like true experience-wise, I was young and I knew it was going to take some time for those guys to get that experience needed to compete at the varsity level against the teams that we compete against.
Right. So I'm guessing you guys, you have a lot of youth, right? It seems to be kind of what's going on with all the teams in the league. A lot of guys that are maybe a year or two away that getting a lot of good playing time now. It's going to be pretty good programs here in the next few years.
That's the hope, yes.
Yeah, that is the hope. Absolutely. You did pick up a nice win over a big rival Osage in January. That had to be nice.
Yeah, it's always nice to beat your close schools and rival schools like Osage, and that was definitely a good win for us. Kind of a little bit of extra motivation to keep working and striving to get better.
Right, and you've dropped some tough close ones this year. One of those was to another rival, Lebanon, right? That was a close one. It looked like they jumped out to a big lead. You guys came back, just ran out of time.
Yes, the Lebanon game was one of those games that kind of a nightmare start, and we couldn't put the ball in the hole, and we kind of spotted them several points that we shouldn't have, and then we finally started playing late in the second quarter and the third quarter to get us back in the ball game, and just kind of ran out of steam and ran out of gas there in the fourth to be able to complete the comeback. When you get yourself down and have to come out of that hole, that's a lot of energy that you have to use to get there, and if you can't ever get over that, we never could get past being tied. We tied them 4 times in the fourth quarter, never could take that lead, and I feel like if we had, it'd have been a different story at the end, but never could get over that hump.
Boy, isn't that interesting? It's so much of it is mental, and to get over that mental hump, it's all or nothing sometimes.
Yes, and that's one of the things that I talk to the boys about all the time is thinking about basketball, thinking the game, and the mental aspect of the game. I mean, basketball is one of those sports that, yes, if you have good athleticism and skills, you can go a long ways, but to really get to the point that you want to get to, you got to think the game, and that's one of the things I've been pushing hard on these guys is to dive in. I've got some resources for them to kind of read themselves, and then we watch some videos and we talk about a lot of things, and really diving into that side of the game is because skill-wise we've got some skills. It's just putting it all together that we've struggled with most this year.
Coaching is such a balancing act because you want your guys to think, be smart players, but then you don't want them to think and be just natural out there, right?
Yes.
How do you play that? It's a pretty rough razor's edge there.
Well, I do know one thing. I didn't take enough psychology classes in college. But the big thing on that balancing act is you want them to think the game, but think it to the point where they can react rather than and have that background of, okay, this is why I do this, and instead of that, instead of having to think, okay, why would I want to go this way? Oh, too late, the ball's going the other direction.
Right.
So that's kind of working on that in practice and getting better at that, of thinking quicker and reacting more by the time games come is the goal. And like I said, that's a balancing act that it's hard sometimes.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
Is.
So are you seeing the progress you want to see? It's been a struggle getting wins, but are you seeing the program growing the way you want it to?
Yes and no. I mean, I would say yes in the fact that there are a lot more basketball savvy kids than I've had in the past, as far as they understand the ins and outs a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But as far as I mean, like I said, the wins have been a struggle, and that side of the thing is what most people see. They don't see the growing and the building part. Yeah. And as a coach, you kind of I fall into it sometimes too, just looking at the wins and losses and not realizing how much we've improved since the beginning of the year. And that's the goal, is to improve the whole year and be playing our best basketball at the end.
Yeah, and that really is the key to building the whole program, is those things sometimes that you don't see. How has COVID affected? Is it still affecting things or not so much?
We've had a couple issues. We had one game canceled right there before Christmas, and we're hoping to make that one up later on this year. And then we had our JV was playing in a tournament that ended up getting canceled, and unfortunately that counts as a tournament because they played one game, even though that's all they got to play is one game. And so that's kind of been the only thing for us. I do know several schools are in the area around us, and schools that we have played, it has hit them a whole lot harder than it has us. So we've been lucky on that aspect.
You've gotten off nice, good. We're getting updated on the Camdenton Lakers with head coach Craig Campbell. We'll have more right after this. What is COMC? A health center where everyone has access to high-quality, affordable medical, dental, and behavioral health care, regardless of insurance or ability to pay. Offering primary care, preventative, chronic, pediatrics, and OBGYN. COMC even offers comprehensive dental and same-day emergency care. A health center that focuses on every aspect of your health. Everything your family needs to stay healthy. At COMC, your health is our mission.
How to sell your house. First, take pictures, put them on Facebook, take off work to hold an open house and lead tours, call a lawyer, negotiate a contract, and, well, pay your lawyer. Send the contract to a title company, schedule an appraisal, schedule an inspection, fill out a mountain of paperwork, sign a contract that you barely understand, and finally, you've closed. Well, unless you messed up one of the earlier steps, in which case, start the whole thing over.
Or you could just call us. That's probably what I would do. Me too.
The O'Sullivan Bruce Group. Selling the lake lifestyle.
The modern farmhouse look is here to stay, and we have it for less at Slumberland Furniture. Start out with neutrals. Use a beige or light gray sofa as your base to build on. Next, mix and match metals and wood. Try adding contrast by using light with dark. Finally, add home-style pillows and unique farmhouse accessories. Play around and have fun. Get your current look for less at Slumberland Furniture.
Back with Camdenton Lakers head coach Craig Campbell, as the Lakers, with a tough year, struggling so far. Seeing some growth, though, which is what you want to see for sure. You've got at least 7 games scheduled in February. What would you like to see over the final month of the regular season?
The main thing is just keep improving. We have a district that's very winnable. There's only 4 teams in our district, and we will have played all 3 of them. And as of right now, even though wins haven't been a lot, if we can beat a couple more in February, then all of a sudden we're the 2 seed in our district and sitting good to make a run. And so that's kind of our goal, is to just keep improving, and hopefully by district time we've kind of hit our peak and can make some noise there at the end. That's
kind of cool, where you go into the final month of the regular season and you've still got the opportunity to win a few games, move up in a seed. And who is in your districts this year?
This year it's us, Rolla, Marshfield, and West Plains.
Okay. West Plains having a pretty good year, right?
West Plains had a pretty good year, Marshfield's having a pretty good year, and Rolla's having a slightly better year than us. So, but it's still one of those that if we can win a couple of those games, then we have a good shot to still make some noise.
Get something done.
And even if we don't come districts, it doesn't matter what your record is.
Right. Throughout the records, you won districts a couple years ago.
Yes,
so
we did.
Guys know how to do that for sure. What players have you seen stepping up, making a difference?
I'd say Kyle Christensen has been a pleasant surprise as far as he's kind of grown in his role of a defensive stopper and high-intensity hustle guy, and hoping he can keep making strides on the offensive end and be more of a scoring threat for us. But he's a high-character kid that wants to succeed and wants the team to succeed, and he's one of those quiet leaders in the fact that when somebody's kind of hanging their head and stuff, he comes up and, hey, let's go, we're good. And it's one of those that you got to have those guys on the team if you're going to be successful, and I definitely think he's kind of stepped up in that role, and he's only a junior, so I'm looking forward to see how he keeps progressing. So.
Right, yeah. So you're really, I mean, with as many young guys as you're playing, getting some good varsity time, the next couple of years are looking kind of bright for you guys, right?
If they'll stick with it and keep playing, then the next few years we might be making some noise and surprising some people.
There you go. All right, you ready for some fun questions?
Sure.
All right, here we go. So what's your favorite TV show of all time? Here's young Coach Campbell growing up, laying on the couch. What do you like watching?
That's a tough one because there's a lot of TV shows I like.
Everything?
But it's kind of wide range. I mean, I've got, like, Andy Griffith Show is one of my favorite all time.
Really?
But,
okay.
But it's one of those. It's not on regular TV anymore. So The Big Bang Theory. I'm kind of a nerd myself, so I kind of relate to that show a little bit. And then some of those drama cop shows and Blue Bloods and stuff like that. I like those shows. I'd say probably Yellowstone, just because my farming background is kind of my show I like to watch right now.
Right now, okay, cool. Your favorite movie of all time? You have one? Is it a sports movie or is it a comedy?
I would say my favorite movie kind of splits into different genres.
Okay.
Favorite sports movie would probably be either Hoosiers,
What a great movie.
Glory Road, or I can't think of Space Jam. I was thinking who was in it.
Space Jam,
Yeah.
is that the one with Shaq?
No, that's the one with Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes. But I'd say one of those three would probably be my all-time favorite.
Okay, there you go. Hoosiers, by the way, can't beat Hoosiers.
No,
right?
no.
That's like the greatest movie of all time.
That's one of the classics there.
Who's your favorite actor of all time?
Depends on the role, but I'd say Denzel Washington. A lot of his
He's been in a lot of great movies.
Are good ones. I mean, Remember the Titans. That's another one I just came to mind. That's one of my all-time favorites. I mean, any good sports movie is pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, and you're right, man. I tell you what, it's hard to find a bad movie with Denzel Washington.
Yes, yeah.
Some of those guys, that's for sure. He does a lot of the shoot 'em ups too.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Gotta like those. Favorite song of all time?
I mean, favorite song that I sing all the time is probably Amazing Grace.
Yeah.
It's one of those songs that when my son was born, I'd sing it to him to kind of put him to sleep.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, if you really think about the lyrics, it's hard to beat. I mean, about a guy that found God and realized how much of a sinner he was and changed his ways. But it's just got one of those tunes that
it's hard. Yeah, it's
so
right.
as soon as you hear it, you know exactly what it is. So.
Yeah, B.J. Thomas does a great version of that song.
I'm not sure I've heard that one. I need to check that one
out. Your favorite singer or group of all time? Who would that be?
Garth Brooks is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd say he's up there, but probably George Strait.
Oh, so you're a country guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, growing up on the farm, all we could get was the country station. So it's one of those that you learn to either love it or you learn to not listen to the radio.
So do the kids think you're an old fogey because you like the country, or you know?
I think I'm a little weird because I like country music more than the others, but I kind of listen to everything. So some of the stuff they listen to, I'll listen to every once in a while, and they'll give me one of those looks like, what is he listening to right now? So.
What's wrong with Coach, man? Your least favorite group or singer of all time?
I'd probably say Spice Girls was my least favorite group.
Really?
Because my sister loved them when we were younger, and that's all I ever heard, and so I just got where I didn't.
Kind of drove you crazy with those Spice Girls, right? Those were the ones from England or something, right?
Yeah.
One of them was married to Beckham, David Beckham.
Yes. And that's the only one I could think of. That was Posh Spice, but
Posh, yeah. I couldn't come
that's
up
the only
with
one I
any of
could
their
come
names.
up with. But.
So, what is the hardest part about being a high school basketball coach? Is it parents, maybe, or time away from home, or what would that be?
It's probably a combination of things. To be truly good at your job, there's a lot of time commitment that people don't realize. It's not a 9-to-5 job, and it's not one that's just limited to the season. I mean, it's probably year-round minus maybe a couple weeks, and that's probably the hardest is that time management and kind of like what you said is family. I mean, finding that downtime with your family, and when I first started coaching, I wasn't married or have kids, and so I spent a lot more time on the coaching side than I try to now, and you got to find that balance. And so
there you go. We know more about Camdenton Lakers and head coach Craig Campbell. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.